Hello, everybody. Once again, it's Wednesday, last Wednesday of September. I'm back from my holidays. I wanted to say thank you for Munir to cover me the past 2 weeks, and for you and Silvia for helping all these, doing all the efforts to be here. So thank you very much. So today's topic, it is probably the first part of probably one or two other parts. We were gonna address important questions like who are we, where did you come from, what I born for. So all these questions, somehow, someday, you ask yourself, or you would like someone to come to you and say, "Hey, that's this is the answer." So thank you for everything, and let my friends here introduce themselves. So good evening, Miss Gibbons. How are you, my dear?
I'm very well, thank you. Good evening. Welcome back. Looking relaxed.
Yeah,
And it's nice to be back and a new subject. And, hope everyone is well and sharing this moment with us. So if you like to send questions or say something, please do use the YouTube or Facebook. And it's really good to be with you once again. As we have a change now, weather's changing, everything, new
yeah,
season, a new season beginning. So it's like a new renew, even though we're going down with it. So I'm glad to be with you and Charles, and we're going to have a good meeting today, God willing.
yeah.
Boa tarde a todos vocês que estão. Prazer em estar com todos. E se vocês quiserem fazer alguma pergunta, fazer um comentário, por favor, usa as que vocês têm, Facebook ou YouTube. E muito bem-vindos e sejam conosco, e nós vamos fazer uma boa reunião hoje, se Deus quiser. Obrigada. Thank you.
Yeah. Bonsoir, Charles.
Bonsoir, Stevan. Welcome back. And bonsoir, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Very happy to be here with you again today to talk about these fundamental philosophical, existential questions. Who are we? Where do we come from? Where do we go to? And hoping that we can bring some light to you on this subject.
Good. Good. Okay. So as usual, let me upload here my video. So let's play.
So now I'm here reincarnated. What for? Many people think it's to get married, have children, buy a house, buy a car, move here, move there. But deep inside, it's beyond it. These are just the means. The goal is to, as Emmanuel says in the book Living Spring, we're born and reborn to learn and to love. So if I wake up thinking, I'm ready to learn, I'm ready to love, I will understand life from a completely different angle. So reincarnation is this opportunity. When we clothe ourselves with a physical body to experience one lifetime, it's the opportunity for us to expand our intelligence and our virtues. How else could it be? So it's like doing an internship in life. Each incarnation is an internship. It's as if you go and experience for a while at a specific workshop the exercise of a few skills. That's what it is in a lifetime. Opportunities for us to work in the workshop of life using specific clothing, which is our physical body, for the opportunity. So how does it happen? Actually, when we incarnate and reincarnate in the same planet, we have the opportunity to revisit, what is this for? Why do we need it? There are at least 3 main reasons. One, because we're destined to progress. And that's the beauty, to know that when we look ourselves in the mirror, we are not stuck in this moment. We know sooner or later we're gonna experience something better, we're gonna see ourselves better, and even the people whom we have issues, we can already feel the moment everything's going to be changed. So nothing stays as is. So reincarnation is an invitation to progress. It's also an opportunity for us to fulfill God's will. And what is it? It's such a foreign concept, fulfill God's will, because people, due to the religious atavism, people think that it's just like, oh, I have to do what God likes. No, it's that love that we feel like God created us and sustains us. So why are we here? Because God wants us to be here. What for? And the constant question, like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do now? This constant and daily search on fulfilling God's will can put us right back to track and faster than we imagine achieve the goals of life. But there is a third element. Reincarnation is an opportunity to redress previous lives' choices. In the Spirit's book, the spirits are very straightforward. They say redress previous lives' mistakes. Mistakes are choices we made that were not very healthy. And in this time, we can revisit them.
Okay. So wise words from our dear friend Vanessa.
Excellent.
Yeah, she made no easy job for ourselves here. So as Silvia said, my friends, please ask your questions. We will, the way we're gonna do today, we're gonna be a debate here, and feel free to jump in to add your questions anytime you need to. And if we have an answer, of course we're gonna give here. If not, we will try to find out someone who has the answer and give you back this answer the following week. So I believe the first question we need to address here is, who are we? So who are we, Charles? Who are we, Silvia?
I think instead of who are we, you could ask, what are we?
Yeah.
So basically, I mean, you are totally right to have this as a first question, because depending on the answer on this first question, you don't even need to answer the next one, or the answer is very short and obvious. So this first question is really the fundamental one. What are we? So there are several systems, two main systems in the humanity, proposing answers to this question. The first point of view, again, coming from the materialist paradigm, is we are a bunch of cells which are driven through bioelectrical, electrochemical reactions, and our conscience is just a result of these reactions, chemical reactions in our brain. And before we were born, we were nothing, and after we die, we go back to nothing, to the emptiness. So this is the materialistic paradigm. So it's a little bit sad, because why should I do then some efforts to get better if anyhow it's finishing very soon? Why should I care? I should really make use of this life as much as I can, as long as I am alive. So I will enter in every type of excess, even with disregarding my neighbors and whatever, and to get the maximum advantage for me during this life. So it's basically the biggest exciter for selfishness and for pride. Okay, and humanity based on such a paradigm would immediately auto-destruct itself. And then some people say yes, but no, because there are some laws, okay, or laws based on what? Some ethical principles. Do not kill, do not steal the things from the others, etc., which are basically, this is coming from very far away, from the 10 Commandments of Moses, are basically the basis of the civil codes in most of the countries we know. Okay, so and this is the only how to say dampener for all the excesses. So it's a kind of a very strange point of view, and it is completely letting us completely blind, incapable to understand if there is a God, and if this God is infinitely just and has this infinite mercy. Why are there so many different people born in a castle, some other born in a favela? Some people which are healthy, some other which are ill since very young, some people, and so on. So if we would make this type of reflection, we really come to the conclusion, no, a God which is infinitely just definitively does not exist, because it's not what I'm seeing. So the question is now, okay, how can we find some logic here? Because more than half of the people are already half of the humanity is not of this opinion. And what is the opinion of the other part of the humanity? This one which are following the spiritualist paradigm. They say we are a soul which is incarnated in a body. And then when we die, the body stays here, and the soul goes wherever it merits to go according to its qualities, to what it has done, gone good or evil or whatsoever. So these are the conceptions coming from most of the religions which are following a spiritualist paradigm, saying that with more or less clear concept about the afterlife. And then came the spiritist body of knowledge, mid of the 19th century, bringing a much broader view. For instance, Occidental religions do not teach or believe in reincarnation. Oriental ones do. And this is a question, where do we come from? But before we enter in answering this question, the first one is really to what are we? Are we just physical matter? Or do we also have in ourselves something else which is not physical, and where we have some fundamental faculties ours, which is the will, which is the memory, which is how to say, our personality, the intelligence, the goodness. All this is in the soul. It is not in the physical body. So that is the answer of the spiritist body of knowledge. We are basically composed of three parts: a spirit, which is independent of the matter, the physical body, where we are temporarily incarnated in, and there is also the spiritual body, which serves as an interface or a link between the spirit and our physical body. So that's
Great.
just to introduce the point.
Yeah, wonderful introduction, my friend. No? And um, you just remind me when Kardec starts to ask the spirits the first question, what is God? And so what we are. Silvia, do you think do you think we are mature enough to understand or to understand this deep question what we are?
Well, it sounds like a rhetorical question, doesn't it? Because we
No, no,
definitely,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we spiritually, I'm sure there are people, there are spirits incarnated who have achieved a certain level of understanding, and they are more aware than other people because we are all in different levels. So some may have achieved this now, because we are different. But most of us, I don't think, have the maturity to understand that. And I think the introduction that Charles gave is really interesting because uh, there is such a variety of opinions now, isn't there? There are people who truly believe that we are nothing more than a physical body and that we will die and everything will end. There are others who, by their religion and everything, accept that, um, and it's in a way can be quite difficult because it depends. They accept that whatever they done in this life, they will go either to heaven, a place of bliss, eternal bliss, where they sit around playing the harp all day long, or they will be in a sort of dark, purgatory place, or they will be sent to a hell, which is eternal, non-negotiable, and you suffer forever. And this, I think, one of the greatest problems that we have, it's fear of going into those places. But then that is part of humanity that accept the idea of reincarnation, as we know, and Charles mentioned. But they also see reincarnation almost as a punishment, because we are going to come back again and suffer, for all the things we've done in the past. And most of the religions or philosophies that accept the idea of reincarnation, they accept that we, as punishment, we return as animals, we reincarnate as animals. And so there is quite a spread of thought around there, isn't it, Stevan? Uh,
Yes, it is.
because I
Well,
think one of the greatest problems that we have, the fear of death, is the fear of going to hell. Uh, um, what's the name of that
I,
that
I would
writer,
say
that Irish writer, Beckett? Sorry,
No?
go on, please,
no,
please.
no, I
I'll
would
finish
say
up
yeah,
with.
the fear of the unknown. No, uh, because people used to say, "Oh, I'm fear of that because I don't know anyone who went there and came back." All the time we have people, spirits talking to us. They just don't believe. That's the point. Like we have letters, we have psychographic messages, we have all these proofs, but people keep saying no, 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 no. So
But not everyone has access to this information, and also, some who do not really accept. Hello, everybody there. It
yeah,
just froze.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody froze for a moment. Sorry. I think one of the things is, the fear of death. It's very because not only is the unknown, but also in certain religion, you think if you didn't do everything the way you had to do it, because God has had those laws, they were going to eternal punishment. And if you think of Dante's, in his Divine Comedy, the entrance to hell, he says, "Leave all hope those who enter," because they knew that they wouldn't come out of there, although even though he did. And I think this quite people are frightened of this. So in this day and age where this has no really real explanation, most people just abandon the idea and they will become materialistic just because they couldn't cope with any other thing. So, oh, there is nothing, I don't believe in anything. And we know, because this is a completely erroneous point of view, because no matter what we've done, we never stop being God's children. And eventually we will have to readdress all the wrongs, like Vanessa was saying. And that's why we come to different lives. And one of the main things in the teachings of Spiritism is that we will never, ever return to being born again as an animal, an irrational being. It doesn't make sense, because reincarnation is a law of progress. You may get stuck in a place for a long time, but we will never go back. So we will return, but as human beings, having to face the wrongs we've done before. And most of the time, we come by our own choice. And I think it's important as well to understand that in the Spiritism body of knowledge, we know that God is merciful. He always is merciful. And many times when we come to lives that are difficult, we ask for those lives ourselves, most of the time. Not saying that, there's some people who don't have a choice, but most of us do. So that is a very different thing, because we always learn new things. And that's why we're here. We come to learn new lessons, to understand, and and it is in the struggle, in this effort that we make to learn about life. And it's a learning that's not only a spiritual learning, but it's also an intellectual learning, isn't it? Because we have the two wings. We have the intellect and the moral side. So we have to grow like that. And as we mature more and more, we understand more and more.
Mhm.
Things become easier, I think, maybe, once we come to a point, it's easier to be more charitable. It's easier to be more understanding. It's easier to be more loving. But while we struggle with all those things, it's a bit of a journey. But also, I think it's important that throughout all the difficulties we have, we always, sorry, I beg your pardon, we always have God's blessings, because He will send to us our benefactors, our guardian angels, our spirits of light who will help us and guide us. They cannot do the job for us, of course. This is an individual path, isn't it? We have to go. We have to choose our own path, and we have to achieve what we have to achieve. We are helped, we're guided, but this is our own journey. And eventually, of course, we have the merit of it, and of receiving enlightenment. Not receiving, achieving enlightenment. So there you are.
Yeah. Paraphrasing Vanessa, we are here to learn and to love. But first of all, to learn to love,
This is said and done.
we need to understand how to serve, how to serve the other, how to warm the other, how to understand your neighbor pains, your neighbor struggling points, and respect their decisions. What we need to learn how once we respect these, we will be able to learn. And learning the consequences love. But and then we have this blessing called reincarnation, in which we needed to come every incarnation, try to to learn, try to love, try to fix our own our selfishness. But it's it's tricky because like today, it was interesting because during the lunch today, Maria, my oldest child, she asked me how many lives we have, and I said, "Wow, we will have many lives." And she said, "Dad, this is the reincarnation, isn't it?" I said, "Yes." Yeah, but my teacher said this is not true because she studied in a Catholic school. You know, I said, "Well, but we do have a reincarnation. But how is spirit? How are we reborn again?" And then I explained her the process of reincarnation. And then she said to me, "So we need to repeat all these incarnations because we need to learn?" I said, "Yes." "And why we are young instead of keep going in the age? Like, why you don't have 200, 300 years?" I said, "Because this is the opportunity to redo again, to start from the scratch and try to redo again." I said, "Wow." And then she said to me, "Wow, this is wonderful." I said, "Yes." So and then she put to her side. So I can make many mistakes I want, and then I will be born again. I will be young again, and I erase my mistakes. I said, "Well, you will reap what you sowed. If you are a good girl, when you come back, you may have a good life as well. But if you're not a good one, probably you're gonna be in trouble. You will have some hard times in order to learn what is right." And then she said to me, "Oh, this is not cool." So it was good because I didn't make the connection with the topic today, but now I think my friends that were preparing the environment for tonight's talk. And
Yes, I think so. This is absolutely true. I mean, how can we have a vision for the future? How can we have a vision of the evolution of betterment? Huh? Without the soul, we see only reasoning materialistically on one life and then full stop. Huh?
yeah,
Why are so many people intelligent and so many other people not? Huh? It would simply not be fair. The explanation of the existence of the soul and its evolution through the reincarnation can explain this fairly. Huh? There is nothing, no injustice. Huh? Everyone, the one who is intelligent, has built this intelligence by his work, his will, and his study. We are the result of what we have done and constructed ourselves in the past, each one according to his merits, you know. So it's a much more, how to say, logical and philosophically equitable view than the reasoning of okay, this had a good luck, so he's healthy and intelligent. The other one did have bad luck, and it would be totally unfair to reason like that, you know. And the second thing is to nowadays, we talked about it, and it's a little bit a favorite subject. If we simply go to the materialist point of view, we want to always more, always a bigger car, a bigger house, more money, growth, this, that. Today, there is highly put in question: is this all sustainable? Are the resources of our world unlimited? Definitively not. So, but if we go in a materialist point of view, it is like, the monkeys,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to
Yeah.
see, doesn't want
We
to
need
hear,
to
doesn't want to say
talk.
anything.
Yeah.
So we do like if nothing would happen, yeah, but sorry, so okay, but tomorrow it's not me whatsoever. And we just continue as usual, doing any effort for improving the situations, for bringing some food to the people who do not have enough, or making our efforts to stop the conflicts in the world or whatever. I mean, the materialist point of view is just bringing this selfish point of view. When you see, when we analyze all the problems we have in the humanity, is exactly due to this. Huh? And Jesus told it to us, what you should do, what we should do. Do unto the other what you would like the others to do unto you. That is the golden rule, as we have discussed also recently in a previous life. But how can you motivate to do this in a materialistic point of view? It's just something, how to say, comes through one ear and goes out from the other, as we say in French. Ça rentre par une oreille, ça ressort par l'autre. You can only adhere to such a principle of abnegation, of putting the global interest before your individual interest, if you have this vision of the evolution of the soul, of the plurality of inhabited worlds, and so on, knowing that we are here on Earth in a world which is quite low level still, and that when we manage to progress, soon we will be allowed, or we will be capable to incarnate in other worlds where the situation is much better than here on Earth. So this is giving a vision which is motivating us to do efforts today, to fight against this selfishness, and to fight against this excessive pride, thinking that we are alone in the universe, and all these absurd things we are hearing around. But there is a second point of view, this book that has been published recently, Science of Life After Death, which is really bringing now, how to say, this accumulation of evidences that yes, we have a soul. A lot of things which are who we are seeing in nature, natural phenomenon, cannot be explained only with the matter. You need to have something different, bringing inclusive some intelligence into the creation, the apparition of life. There are so many things, the near-death experience. Okay, the guy which is material, this is just dreams, but he didn't even observe it, he didn't even study it, he's just denying by principle. So for this type of fellow, we have to be patient. They will change one day, but it may, for some of them, take some time. But for the others now who are looking seriously into it, it is today more and more evident that yes, we have a soul. Yes, our personality survives to what is called the death. And now, what are we waiting for? How long will we still have to fight against these dogmatical positions which are not in line with the natural laws? I think it will take still some decades, or maybe a couple of centuries, but we will get there for sure.
Yeah, we'll take it. For example, I was talking to a friend of mine. He used to be a volunteer here in our spirit center in Dublin, and then he moved to Netherlands last year or a year ago. And he goes to a spirit center in the Netherlands. The meeting used to be in a Catholic place, and 2 months ago they got a warning. This place changed the what's the board, and the board sent a letter to them say, hey, you cannot have your meetings here because Bible says you cannot talk to spirits, so we cannot allow you to be here. Okay, they left. They found another place, another Catholic place. They had the first meeting, the second meeting, they got a warning, go out. You cannot have your meetings here. So how to practice that, all these things what we are saying here today, while we still have these type of actions.
Yeah, I mean, we have this type of position in the scientific point of view, so atheism and materialism, but in the religions, in the traditional religions, we talked a little bit about the hell, which is used as a threat to motivate the people to do whatever the Pope or the priest asks them to do. The authority that you are imposing by putting fear onto the fellows. So it's another type of manipulations, and in the traditional religion, they have these exclusivist positions, means out of my church there is no salvation. And this is also something who went along the centuries. Jesus was not like that at all. Which has been introduced by the religious hierarchies alongst the centuries and even the millenniums, and that today generated this opposite reaction of science. So it's the same point of view, but we went from one extreme to the other. And this is exactly what Kardec, when he was thinking with the help of the spirits who came giving some communications, what he made. He thought, do you want to reconcile science and religions? It's impossible. They are so opposite one to the other that you will never get to reconcile. But what he did, he took the best out of science, which is a method, the best out of the religions, which are the moral laws, and put them together in something new, which is a spiritist body of knowledge. And this approach was really, in my point of view, suggested by the spirits who organized all this, something which is a revolution and which today still is not understood as it should be. And this is then bringing to us this clear vision in a non-dogmatic way of bringing some logical answer which can withstand the reason face to face. This unshakable face, as Kardec is writing on the cover page of the Gospel according to Spiritism. And it is the only way, how to say, to reconcile what is the best on each side. But it will take still some time to be explained. We have on one side, as you exactly illustrated, Stevan, the resistance of the religious, which are against this new approach, for which they are fearing, and also the scientists who say we are dreamers. But as John Lennon said, we are not the only ones.
Yeah. Idea.
I think in all of this as well, it's interesting that they would be so against having meetings, the religions, when in a country where they have assisted suicide and allow people to kill themselves legally.
Yeah.
it's quite shocking that where are those religious people trying to defend life? Rather, probably that's why they're so afraid that if we talk to the spirits, they'll come up and they'll say something that they don't like. I think that's one of the problems sometimes. I personally think it's easier to talk to someone who is an atheist, but is a person that is willing to listen, rather than with people who have such a preconceived ideas that they are right and everybody else is wrong. And I find the contradiction as well, that even, they now allowing even teenagers to die and things like that because they don't feel they are happy enough on this earth.
Yeah.
And it's very shocking to me. And I think it really shows how sometimes, religious thought can be quite damaging. I think the number of people who actually truly don't believe that God exists, that life ends and everything, I don't think they have the great majority. I used to work with someone actually. Oh, don't believe in anything. You die when the Grim Reaper come for you, and bye bye. But every now and then, when he had trouble or something went wrong, or his computer got stuck, he said, "Jesus Christ! Oh my God!" And everybody used to laugh their heads off because he would go into this tirade asking for Jesus and God at that moment. But and I think that. The thing that Charles was saying before, the materialist point of view. You have a better car, you have a better days, a better bed, and you're always looking for more and more and more. But this is it's emptiness. You don't get anywhere. The more you have, the less you feel, the empty you feel. Because material things does not fulfill that emptiness, that longing that we have. Because whether we accept or not, that there is life after death, that we are spiritual beings, and that we are going back home, it doesn't matter. We know we have, because there isn't a single person living on earth now that has not lived many lives, that has not gone through the process of reincarnation, that has not the knowledge of God. In the Spirit's book, he said, you suffer when you go against the natural laws. And he said, where are the laws written? And the answer from the spirits were, in your conscience. So every single human being that exists has a conscience. So the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the spirits within them. I think sometimes there is a lot of arrogance in some scientists. I think maybe the older scientists now, because the new ones, they are dealing now with quantum and things that can only be understood on the basis of theory. It goes beyond their normal understanding. I mean, I just saw this very famous Nobel Prize winner scientist the other day saying that dark energy, dark matter,
Mhm.
doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Is a concept. Yeah. And when people saying that you have all this, yes, but he did this and he did that, and they were very critical. These other scientists who appears on the telly said, yes, there are things we cannot understand in the universe, and we haven't been able to, because we're not as clever as we think we are. I think you probably know him, Ishii Kaku. He always saying that we don't know enough about the universe to make such a big leaps and everything, and people are very critical of him. But I think that's the point of science. Some people will hold on. Of course, if you have a life behind you, that you wrote so many books and you won lots of prizes, as the greatest scientist of your age and things, and suddenly there is a completely new theory, they're going to fight against. But the new scientists, the new people coming forward now, they are working a different level. They are working the level of the mind, of theory. I suppose very few scientists can be like Peter Higgins, isn't it? That he had the theoretical idea of the Higgs boson, and actually they now have found it. And I think many scientists don't actually live to see that theories coming to life. But things are there, and we are learning because, um, I think where we come from the world of the spirits,
Yeah.
because we are spirits. And once we leave this physical body, we are going back to the spiritual world. And we are eternal beings. We live forever once we created. We had, like your little girl was asking, and children sometimes it's wonderful to talk to them because they have a sense of reasoning that's beyond our understanding sometimes. They can be grasp concept that if you talk to an elder person, they will say, no, doesn't exist, go away from us. Um, so we are going to go back to that's where our real life is. And as we progress, as we learn and science develops, we will find that more and more science and religion will be less proud, less because I think I think Charles mentioned it something, but because sometimes many religions use the punishment of hell or the punishment of something, whatever they call it, as a whip to control people.
Yeah.
And nowadays, everyone says, I don't want to believe this. I don't believe in God. And sometimes, when you see some religious people talking about God and talk about punishments and that God, I don't believe in that God either. Because I believe I don't believe in God. I know God exists basically, but the way some religious people talk about God, this horrible creature that's going to, if you don't do whatever he wants, he's going to destroy you. And it's so paradox, it's so complete confusing. So, well, I don't believe in this God. And I think that's one of the reasons why now we seem to have so many people who say they don't believe. The churches are more and more empty. I don't know how they are in other places, but here in England, they are almost empty. And it's incredible how sometimes the church start to changing their things to accept everything that is in society now, even change their own essence. And then instead of getting more people in, I think they are going to expel the ones who were there before, because you cannot be everything for everybody all the time. Either you have the principles or you don't. Because I think that's one of the things that is very good and important in Spiritism, that nothing is forbidden. Absolutely, you do whatever you like. You have free will. You can do whatever comes to your mind, but you need to be ready to bear the consequences of what you've done. You said that today, Stevan. You harvest what you sow, and that's it. There is nothing is forbidden, but then you have to be strong enough to bear the consequence of what you've done. And I think this is really makes you stop to think what you're doing. As as you explained to your little girl, our life in the future is going to be based on what we've done now, what we've learned now. And it's very sobering, I think, to think that what we're doing now will have a consequence in what's to be, that we ourselves are creating our own life. So, I find the intelligence that the Spiritism brings to our lives and the understanding makes life a lot more bearable to understand, because I think we are in such a state of transformation in our planet. So many things now are coming to a head. And I read it today, something I was flabbergasted. Before, one of my big dreams was to go to the north, near the Arctic Pole, to see the Aurora Borealis. And now I can just go down to France,
Mhm.
because the Aurora Borealis actually was in northern France yesterday, which is
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm absurd. I don't have to go north. I just can go down south to France and see the aurora. It's completely crazy. It was marvelous. It's really strong and everything. So we are changing. Our planet is transforming, and we are seeing a lot of crazy things. We are seeing a lot of problems and difficulties, but that's the nature of thing, because whatever is holding this back is fighting back against the change. You see babies now, I mean, today baby, day old baby actually trying to crawl. I mean, this is completely crazy. And I mean, even your little girl, do you remember when she was a little baby, she wanted to sit down? Do you remember? She used to
Mhm,
do that.
mhm. Yeah.
So, you have all these children who are being born now that are spirits. So maybe a higher degree of advancement than we have. So I pray for them, because they have a lot to do in their missions on this planet. So, but it's wonderful. It's positive, and I think was really nice. This Earth shot, you probably saw that, in New York, impressed of people who are finding incredible ways of saving the sea and the air and the air and everything. And I thought that the speech that Prince William gave was so positive, was so heartwarming, rather than saying, oh, you're going to die, you're going to be destroyed. He was positive, he was optimistic. So people feeling optimistic, they feel like changing. And I thought that was a wonderful message coming from that place, with all these young people shining to protect our planet in the future. No? So
Yeah. What is said, Silvia, is come across what Marco said to us here. We need to have principles. It's not saying one thing or on one side and your actions doesn't concur what you are saying. So we need to have these principles. We need to have courage to deal with the consequences and not doing what is
Thompson.
political correct. No, what is, oh, I will say this because this looks nice. No, we need to have our belief. We need to express ourselves. I think that's the first thing. Doesn't matter. We are not saying here what's right, what's wrong. I just saying do it what you do believe. Act as what you believe, and try to deal with the consequences.
Exactly, yeah. Because I think to maybe going to the question, what are we? In question 23 of the Spirit's book, it says um, that we are spirit, and what is the spirit? Is the intelligent principle of the universe. I mean, we are an intelligent principle, so surely we need to we will learn to be something better than we are so far, isn't it?
Because they send us to the universe now, poor universe,
Yeah, yeah.
a poor universe.
Because the things as well, some scientists say, oh, that's not possible, that's impossible, traveling space, do this, do that, they say, no, it's impossible. And like the scientist was saying, it's impossible for us, but there are civilizations out there in the universe, they are million years ahead of us. For them, things that are impossible to us is not impossible for them. And even if we look at the whole history of our earth, there were things that were considered, like the sun went around the earth, and people who dared to say differently were burned alive, like Giordano Bruno, or got in prison like Galileo and everything. And now is a reality that no one can deny,
Yeah.
So
And yet you have people denying it. Huh? There are still
yeah.
some people making that the Earth is not round. But
Yeah.
okay, I mean, this is exactly, I'd say, everyone believes what he thinks according to his degree of evolution, to his perception, his understanding of the things. And you are right, Silvia. We today, a lot of people are materialistic, but sooner or later they will get some elements, some evidences that will make them hardly, but for sure, with time, if needed, change their mind. As simple as that. So we need to be patient. So we cannot, a belief cannot be imposed. A belief can only be, how to say, created by an understanding. And to change a belief into another belief, it requires time. It's not easy for no one of us.
Yeah, and also that there is a lot of people who say they don't believe in God and they have no religion, but they live such a Christian lives. They are charitable. They go out of their way to help other people. They are in campaigns to help. They collect food. They go to work, as doctors in the other side of the world, and they are better people than the religious people. Because I think I always, remember what Jesus said. Not everyone who says, Lord, Lord, enter the kingdom of heaven, but those who do the will of my Father who is in heaven. So, claiming that you believe in God and you have religion does not mean it's better to do the actions of goodness than actually saying you believe in and being, against someone to have a meeting and talk about God. Isn't it funny? So,
Yeah.
lots to think about.
It is, my dear. It is. So, any other final considerations? We do have 2 minutes left.
So it's a good news. We are a spirit incarnated in a physical body. We will survive to what is called the death. And we are progressing always to better, to be better every year, every day, every incarnation, better and closer to happiness. So see the positive consequences of this consistent, rational body of knowledge that has been brought by the spirits through the codification of Kardec. So we have basically it's a very positive, optimistic point of view, and that's why spiritists should not fear death. Some are fearing even so, because it's always a separation, it's always a transition. When we make a big travel to stay a long time in another continent or whatsoever, we always have some, okay, what will happen with me? Will I be capable to adapt myself, different language, different cultures? The death is a little bit the same, with different world, different dimensions, a different ambient, a different way, of perception and whatever. But our real home is the spiritual world. We are only temporarily incarnated here on earth. And that is pushing us very strongly. What are the true values that we will get with us when we go there? It's not the material things. Material things will all stay here. This we are 100% sure. But we will take with us our conscience, good or bad, and the intelligence and what we acquired in morality. This we will take with us. So these are the true value we should care even during this incarnation, if we want to progress quicker to the happiness.
Yeah, but that is also one thing, isn't it, Charles? Because we came from the spiritual world, and we're going to go back to there would be less strange than this world was when we came here.
Yes.
Everything we had to learn and go through here, but there is a real life. That's the world we know better. And it's interesting as well that the effort that we make to learn things. I was thinking today about this. You have these little children, sometimes you say that in a YouTube, 5-6-year-old, they sit in the piano and they play these huge symphonies, and their little hands go everywhere. They know how to play. But if you are living in this earth, you need to study for years and years, 7-8 hours a day, every single day of the week, for years and years and years to be able to play like this 5-year-old. But what we forget is this 5-year-old probably spent a lifetime doing it for 7, 8, 9 hours a day, practicing their finger exercise. So now they already have the knowledge. They don't have to go through that again. So I think in making the effort to learn as much as we can and to work and to serve, I think because we need to have a life of service to others and bring, love to others. If we have a little bit of understanding, we need to do that. So next time we don't have to make the sacrifice, won't be so hard
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's about our time, Trevor. Trevor, long time don't have you here, Trevor. Good to have you here. Child is probably reincarnated composer prodigy.
As a prodigy. Well, he was a prodigy before in the past, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I want to say thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
The announcements today is just to say next week we will keep going on the same topic, but we are going to more questions like where we are going to, what is the purpose of life on Earth, so where we came from. So we will keep more with this part here. So far, I want you to say merci, Charles. Thank you, Silvia.
Merci, de rien.
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you. Let's see who more here. Oh, dear Vanessa, it is with her. It is with us today. Pedro Maia e Gilson da Gama. So thank you very much, my friends. Thank you, Kardec Radio, for the opportunity to share these with our friends in the United States and elsewhere. So thank you. I will see you next Wednesday, 4th of October. And take care.
Thank you. Good night and God
All the
bless
best.
you.
Thank you.
Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you.
God
Bye-bye.
bless. Bye.